friends, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. A lot of people think that when summer ends, so does the garden, but that's actually when some of the best growing conditions begin.
Fall gardens produce sweeter carrots, tastier kale, and more abundant harvests than many summer crops, and sometimes less work thanks to no constant watering and fewer pests. Plus, these vegetables that actually want to grow in cooler weather.
Today I'm sharing 15 vegetables that you can grow in the fall to keep your kitchen stocked well into winter.
Before we jump into this list, let me explain why fall gardening is actually easier than summer gardening in some ways, because once you understand this, you'll wonder why you didn't start sooner. First, cooler temperatures mean less watering. Your plants aren't constantly stressed by heat, so you're not out there every single day with a hose. Second, most garden pests slow down or disappear entirely when temperatures drop. Fewer aphids, fewer beetles, fewer headaches. Third, and this is a big one, many vegetables actually taste better after exposure to light frost. The cold triggers them to convert starches into sugars as a natural antifreeze. That's why fall carrots taste sweeter and kale gets less bitter.
So if you've been intimidated by the summer garden, fall is your chance to get a much easier start,
All right, let's get into the vegetables. I'm breaking these into three categories: leafy greens, root vegetables, and brassicas.
which is just a fancy word for the cabbage family.
We'll start with the leafy greens because these are your fastest growers. So, number one is spinach. Spinach is probably the easiest fall green to grow. It loves cool weather, hates the heat, and you can harvest leaves in as little as 30 days. Plant it in rows about 6 inches apart. Keep the soil moist while it germinates, and within a month, you will have fresh spinach for salads and smoothies.
Quick tip, plant a new row every 2 weeks for a continuous harvest.
Number two is kale. Kale is nearly indestructible. It can handle frost down to about 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and honestly, it tastes better after a light freeze. Plant transplants or seeds in late summer and space them about 12 to 18 inches apart.
Kale will keep producing leaves all throughout the winter, even under a blanket of snow sometimes.
Number three is lettuce. Fall is actually the best time to grow lettuce because it won't bolt like it does in summer heat. Try a mixture of varieties: romaine, buttercrunch, loose leaf. Plant seeds directly in the soil every couple weeks for a constant supply of salad greens. Lettuce can handle some light frost, so you could be harvesting fresh salads well into December, especially if you utilize frost cloth.
Of course, this is going to depend on where you live, but some hardy frost cloth can extend just about any season.
Number four is arugula. Arugula is ridiculously fast growing, like 20 to 30 days from seed to harvest. It has that peppery, slightly spicy flavor that's great in salads and sandwiches.
It also self-seeds like crazy, so if you let a few plants go to seed and leave them in the ground, they will come back on their own next spring.
Number five is mustard greens. Similar to arugula, they are also fast growing, cold tolerant, and packed with flavor, but these are ready in 30 to 40 days. Use the young leaves raw in salads or cook the mature leaves just like you would collard greens. Number six is Swiss chard. It's one of those set it and forget it crops. It handles light frost beautifully and keeps producing until you get a hard freeze.
Plus, it's gorgeous. Those beautiful stems create a wonderful look in your garden even when things around them are dying back.
Number seven is collard greens. If you live somewhere that gets cold winters, collards are going to be your best friend. They are extremely cold hardy and actually taste better after they've been kissed by frost. Plant them now and you'll be harvesting nutritious greens all fall and winter long.
All right, let's move on to root vegetables. These take longer than leafy greens, but the payoff is well worth it, especially when it comes to flavor.
First in this category, but number 8 on the list, is carrots. Fall carrots are hands down the sweetest carrots you will ever eat. That cool weather turns them almost candy-like. Make sure you plant them in loose, well-drained soil, and if your soil is too compacted or rocky, your carrots will fork and split. Depending on the variety, they can take anywhere from 60 all the way up to 100 days to mature.
And here's a quick tip, cover them with a deep layer of mulch before the ground freezes, and then throughout the winter, when you need a carrot, you can just go out and dig through the mulch and get it.
Number 9 is beets. Beets are a 2-for-1 crop. You can eat both the roots and the greens. They grow quickly in cool weather and usually ready in about 50 to 60 days. Plant seeds directly in the garden in late summer or early fall.
And let me pause here to say, if you're not a fan of beets, try roasting fall-grown beets. The flavor is a lot sweeter, less earthy, and just overall, in my opinion, better than spring or summer beets.
Number 10 is radishes. They are the ultimate beginner crop. Ready in just 25 to 30 days, they basically grow themselves once you get the seeds in the ground. Plant them directly in the soil, keep them watered, and within a month, you'll have crunchy, spicy radishes.
They're also a really great crop to grow with kids. Those fast results really keep them interested in the garden.
Number 11 is turnips, and they are underrated. Both the roots and the greens are edible and nutritious. They mature in about 40 to 60 days and can handle pretty seriously cold temperatures. In fact, frost makes them taste milder and sweeter.
Now let's talk about the brassica family. This is your cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, and again, they take a good bit longer to mature, but they're worth the wait.
Number 12 is broccoli, and it absolutely thrives in the fall. It needs cool weather actually to form tight, dense heads. Start from transplants if you're planting late, or start from seeds indoors 6 to 8 weeks before your first frost date. Now, for a lot of us, that time has passed, so transplants are going to be the best route if you have some frost cover on hand for the end of the season. But broccoli takes about 60 to 70 days from transplant to harvest. One thing I'd recommend is after you cut the main head, keep the plant in the ground.
It'll produce side shoots for weeks.
Number 13 is cauliflower. It too needs consistent moisture and cooler temperatures. Transplant seedlings in early fall or late summer if you plant ahead that far ahead, and you'll harvest heads in about 55 to 80 days depending on the variety. If you plant right now, that means you're probably going to need some frost blanket to keep on hand. About 1 to 2 weeks before you're ready to harvest, bundle the outer leaves together and tie them up over the head. This is a process called blanching, which is weird, I know, but it blocks out the light and keeps the vegetable white and tender. Number 14 is Brussels sprouts.
Now, Brussels sprouts are a commitment crop, no doubt. They take between 90 to 100 days to mature. But the little sprouts that they produce along the stems actually get sweeter after a frost or even after 2 or 3 frosts. It just makes them even sweeter.
Plant transplants in late summer or early fall, and as the weather cools, those little sprouts will form along the stalk. Our first year growing Brussels sprouts, we had 6 inches of snow on the ground when we harvested, so they are very cold hardy. And finally, number 15 is cabbage. It loves cooler weather and produces big, dense heads that store well for months when they're not having to battle the heat of late spring, early summer. So plant transplants in late summer or early fall, like right now, depending on the variety. It can take anywhere between 60 to 90 days to mature. So keep that in mind for your area. If you need to have frost cloth on hand, it can absolutely withstand those temperatures, but just go ahead and put a sheet or frost cloth over them just to keep them protected.
All right, so now that you know what to plant, let's talk about when to plant because timing is everything in the fall garden.
First, you need to know your average first frost date. You can find this by Googling your zip code plus adding the words first frost date or checking with your local extension office. Once you have that date, here's what you do. Count backwards from your first frost date using the days to maturity listed on your seed packet. For example, if your first frost is October 15th and you want to plant broccoli that takes 70 days to mature, you'll need to plant by early August.
Now I know it's October already, so if you're watching this video thinking I've already lost or passed my window for broccoli and cauliflower, you're probably right for this year. But here's the good news. You haven't missed your window for the really fast growers. So let's talk about those.
Right now, many areas can still plant spinach, arugula, lettuce, radishes, and mustard greens. If your first frost isn't until late October or early November, you have time. Even if frost comes sooner, these greens can handle light frost, and many of them even appreciate one and taste sweeter after a couple of frost. Just keep some frost blankets, frost cloth, or even just some bed sheets on hand to keep things covered if temperatures dip down to below 32 degrees Fahrenheit and stay below 32 degrees Fahrenheit for several hours straight.
And if you're in a warmer zone like zone 9, zone 10, you can plant pretty much everything on this list right now and harvest all throughout the winter.
An important thing to note is that some vegetables need to be direct seeded while others do better as transplants. You'll want to direct seed, which means putting the seed straight in the ground. Carrots, radishes, beets, turnips, lettuce, spinach, and arugula. Transplants work better for broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. By the way, this is just a general rule of thumb. Just because something is on the direct seed list does not mean it can't be also done as a transplant.
One more thing, keep an eye on the weather. If an early frost is coming, get some row covers, some frost blankets, or even just some old sheets, even like a deep layer of mulch to protect your plants. Here's my challenge to you. Even if you can only grow 1 or 2 items on this list, go ahead and get them in the ground anyway.
Learn the process now while the stakes are low. Then next year, you'll know exactly when to start and what to expect. That's how we build these food growing skills one season at a time.
All right, friends, there's your quick start guide to fall gardening.
From fast growing greens like arugula and spinach to sweet root vegetables like carrots and beets to hardy brassicas like cabbage and broccoli, there's much to be grown and to love in the fall and winter garden. That's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Bye.